Hello, 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 everyone. It's so wonderful to have you here. We're gonna just give a couple of minutes for anybody who's still gonna arrive. So go ahead and write any questions that you have for me in the comment section below here, because I really want to make sure that I include everything. Of course, we've got the 3 secrets that we're going to be covering that you would have seen when you signed up. But there's so much more to cover, and I'm particularly interested in your specific questions, which is why I kept this group so small, so that I can make sure that we leave here with your questions answered, and with you having everything that you need to be able to start your crypto journey, and understanding why it's so important that you start your crypto journey. So before we get started, we're just waiting for a couple of more people to show up. I want to give everyone a chance to get on here. So we're going to get started really, really soon, just a couple of minutes. If you've just joined, I'm encouraging you to pop any questions that you have in the comment section below, because I really want to make sure that I include what it is that you are wanting to know about crypto or Bitcoin, so that you can leave here with everything that you need to get started and understand why it's so important that I'm shouting from the rooftops and sending emails into your inbox about crypto. So go ahead and pop your questions in the comment section below this video where you're watching it, and I'll be checking that as often as I can. So if you just joined, we're going to get started in a couple of minutes. Just want to give the opportunity for everybody to click on the link and to get here. And while we're waiting to start, think of any questions that you want me to cover, and go ahead and pop them in the questions section below. I'm really, really looking forward to answering your questions. I am super passionate about cryptocurrency, of course, because of all the cool things that you've heard, but also because of some stuff that you probably don't fully appreciate. And we're going to cover that in the 3 secrets that you would have seen. But also, I might get a bit lost down the path of what I'm really excited about, which is the impact that crypto has on the world, not just big profits, which I'm sure you've heard a lot about. If you just joined us, welcome. We're going to get started super, super soon. In the meantime, pop any questions that you have in the bottom. I'm going to check them periodically before I start. And I'll make sure that I get your questions answered, so you leave here knowing everything that you need to know to start your crypto journey. I'm super, 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 super excited to be here with you guys. Let me just check. Anything specific I can help you with now? Deborah says, no immediate questions, curious but skeptical. So many people I've chatted to say, don't go there. And I don't understand how it works. I'm hoping to learn. Cool. Well, we're going to cover the 3 secrets that you might have seen when you logged in, Deborah. I'm going to give just a couple more minutes for people to join. And if specific questions come up as I'm chatting with you, then pop them in there, because that helps me know exactly what angle to focus on. But yeah, I know there's a lot of skeptics and a lot of people saying don't join, and I will say off the bat that comes from a place of ignorance largely, and also from the point of view that there were some people who were making quite irresponsible investments into cryptocurrency. So I'll say it off the bat before even jumping into the 3 secrets is, don't go and invest your whole life savings in cryptocurrency. Don't invest your whole life savings in any one thing. That's a sound investment strategy from the beginning. But it's important to understand what cryptocurrency is, and then from there you can choose if it's the right thing for you. So I'm going to just wait 1 more minute, and then we can start. So in the meantime, if you've just joined us, welcome. Go ahead and pop any questions that you have in the question section there, and I'll make sure that I include it. If you're sitting, observing, and not wanting to reveal yourself, don't be afraid. Go ahead and pop your questions in the comment section, because I'd love to be able to help you. Okay, So let's go ahead and begin. I'm gonna show you my screen, a presentation, so that you can follow along, and I'll pop back onto my face every now and again. If you haven't already, pop any questions that you have at the bottom. As we go along, I'm gonna check and I'm gonna refresh. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so what the fuck is Bitcoin? A lot of people have wondered that to themselves, and a lot of people have got quite confusing and conflicting information. Like Deborah, one of the viewers today, has said, like, "Oh, I'm really skeptical because I really just don't understand it." And a lot of that sentiment comes from a place of confusion, and that's one of the things I want us to leave here today. The number one goal, though, is for you to be able to understand how it is that people are actually making profit from cryptocurrency, or how it has been possible to profit from cryptocurrency without risking all of your money. So that question is straight at one of the questions that came up there already. And if you stay to the end, there is a free beginner's guide. I really want you to be able to benefit and to co-create this new financial system with me, with all of these early adopters. So in order to encourage you to do that, there is a free guide that you get that shows you live links to all the websites that I used when I started building my cryptocurrency portfolio. So make sure that you stay to the end so that I can email that to you. And I also just want to take a moment to congratulate you for signing up. I know that there's a lot of mystery and fear around cryptocurrency, and you deciding to join me here today means that you are prepared to go into the little bit of zone of uncertainty. Tim Ferriss, who's one of my favorite dudes on the planet, as a quote I use quite often, says people will rather choose unhappiness over uncertainty. So I know that uncertainty is quite a scary thing, but taking the step to inform yourself is really the first step you need to take on your crypto journey. And I just want to pause and ask you if you've got 18 tabs open on your web browser, your phone, your WhatsApp, your everything else that could be distracting you. And if you do, I encourage you to close those down and just give yourself a chance to benefit from what I want to share with you, so that you can pay attention and follow me from beginning to end without the distractions. It's a kind of gift that you really deserve to give yourself. So I want to encourage you to do that. Right, my story, my crypto story, begins in 2017, and this is an actual photograph that my hubby put on Facebook, where he put that quote in, not knowing how true it was actually going to become, which is the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is now. So that's a sentiment that really applies to crypto, and I'm going to share with you that a lot of people have say it's too late. It's only the people who bought crypto right in the beginning who managed to make big profits. And I just want to share with you why that's not true, not only from a profit point of view, but also from a what crypto means for us and our financial systems point of view. It's definitely not too late. We only started our crypto journey in early 2017. So that's significant for you to understand. So what has happened for us? Just a little bit about myself and my hubby Warwick and our crypto journey and our portfolio, so that you can understand that when I talk, I'm coming from a place of been there and done that, and also with quite significant life-changing results for us that spurred on a whole other triggered a whole series of other actions that we've taken in our life from the one decision we made to invest in cryptocurrency. Why was it significant? Well, when we started in the beginning of 2017, in just 9 months, our crypto portfolio did really, really well. So in 9 months, it increased by 2,242% in profit. That's really significant. And in all honesty, I can't talk about money and cryptocurrency without talking about very real things that happen for us. So I'm going to be quite transparent and share with you that we've initially made a small little amount of investment, and we watched that it did really, really well. So we sat down as a family and we said, okay, how much are we prepared to test, to put some skin in the game? with and see what happens. And for us, a acceptable amount to experiment with, to test with, to risk with was exactly $12,150. And that was a situation unique to us. A couple of questions that are coming up as I'm chatting here is like, what's the minimum amount? There's no minimum amount. You can start with literally $100. You can start with $50. And you should certainly only use an amount of money that you are prepared to risk. Any kind of investment is risking. If you buy shares in the stock market, as you'll see a little bit later, there's always the risk that it doesn't work out. You could buy property like I did when I was in my early 20s in Luxembourg, and the recession could hit, and I ended up losing a serious amount of money paying a mortgage on an apartment that wasn't worth what I had bought it for anymore. So in any kind of investment, there's risk, and you've got to decide how much money you're prepared to risk. And in our case, we decided we were going to buy $12,150 worth of crypto in early 2017. And by the end of the year, that portfolio grew to $284,575, to be precise, by the end of November, which is an enormous return on investment. And that's one of the reasons that I became super excited about sharing with people how it is possible to make a profit with cryptocurrency, because the crypto market boomed last year, and explain to you how it is that profit is possible when the market is booming. And I just wanted to share with you that I rode through 2017 seeing our portfolio increase from 12 to 284. So I really know what I'm talking about. What did that mean for us? Well, it gave us the confidence to make a few very serious life changes that we'd kind of been putting off for a long time. And one of that included buying a house on the north coast of KZN with a little stream at the bottom of the garden, and doing something that I'd always wanted to do, which was renovate and create really my dream space. So that's what we did. It was in terrible condition, and we spent months preparing it, nesting, and creating it into something exactly that I want. And that was my vision board image. I wanted something like that, but without the sea in the background. I wanted a forest, and that's what we did. We knocked out all of the walls and really customized it to be exactly like I want. And in the end, there's some pictures of the results. Yes, you can see my preggy belly there. I was also pregnant in 2017, and my baby boy was born at the end of the year. So another thing that crypto did, other than allowing me to create my beautiful house, or giving me the confidence to be able to do that, is that I also basically quit full-time employment, and I was able to spend time with my boy Max the whole of this year. In fact, this training is only one of the second or third trainings that I've run in the last year, also through the security net and the confidence that the crypto has given us. So my background is I'm a training specialist. I've run all kinds of different training in my life, from communication training, technical training, and now encouraging people to understand the impact of cryptocurrency on the world. Warwick, my hubby, who's very much involved in our portfolio and also designing our training interventions, is a serious tech geek and has also traveled the world already teaching people about blockchain, which is the technology that's used in cryptocurrency. I'm just reading some comments here. Let's see what's happening. A little bit of a technical problem. Let me reshare the screen. Okay, is that better? So I was sharing some some photographs of our renovation and what that meant to me. Okay, so before I carry on, I've been talking a lot about my renovation and my dream house, and the profit that we managed to build in our crypto portfolio, going from $12,000 to $280,000. And I wanted to take a moment now just to allow you to consider what that would mean for you. Say 2017 repeated all over again. The crypto markets did exactly the same thing as they did last year, and you invested $10,000 and got $280,000. What would that mean to you? Would you buy a house on a coastal village and pull out of the rat race? Would you take a year off? Would you renovate your dream house? Would you want to spend more time with your children? Would you build yourself your dream business? What is it that you would do if you managed to build a crypto portfolio that was super successful? And just take a moment to consider that and keep it in the back of your mind, so that you allow yourself to wonder about that possibility. So in order for our portfolio to achieve that, obviously we did a lot of things right. And it shouldn't be a surprise that along the way, we also did a few things wrong. And those are the things that I mostly want to share with you to avoid you having the same issue, that you don't have to go and repeat the same mistakes that I did. I really discovered a couple of things the hard way, and you don't have to. So the biggest thing that I would like you to avoid missing out on is almost missing the biggest transfer of wealth in financial history, because it's very likely that cryptocurrency, or one of the most popular cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, for example, is going to become a major global currency contender. It's already very, very widely used, and it's not impossible that it's going to become more and more popular. And if that's the case, we are seeing an enormous shift, an enormous transfer of wealth happening. And I don't want you to miss out on that. I remember when I got started in early 2017, and I was very skeptical. So I started with a very small amount, which is exactly what I'd recommend you do. I didn't realize truly what the impact of crypto was going to be on the world. And if you can't see my screen, let's just stick with audio for the moment. There's a couple of people who said they can and a couple of people who said they can't. So I'm not sure what's happening there, but I'll just continue for the purposes of everyone. I wasn't aware truly of what crypto meant when I first started. I love technology. I thought I had an idea of what it was, and I was prepared to test out with an experiment, a couple $100 experiment. And when I began to read and understand and learn more, and I began to understand how significant crypto was in terms of becoming a global contender, an alternative financial system, a parallel opportunity for people who are tired of corrupt governments, terrified of hyperinflation and your currency turning into nothing overnight, your retirement, your life savings, your pension fund. People who are distrustful in banks, like the 2008 financial crisis. If you've watched the movie The Big Short, where it's actually big institutions, corrupt, greedy institutions that are manipulating the way our markets go. If you are skeptical of that, if you are tired of that, if you're worried about hyperinflation like Zimbabwe, like Argentina, like Greece, then cryptocurrency offers an alternate financial system, a shift in wealth, a transfer of wealth from the current system into a new system. And that is what I don't want you to miss out on, because I almost did. I'm only a year ahead of you, and I wish I got involved 10 years ago, because yes, the profits would have been even more, but also I could have been encouraging more people from earlier so that we could have had this alternate option earlier. Another thing that I want to save you is wasting the hours and weeks and months doing unnecessary research that I've already done. I have spent an incredible amount of time researching and learning and understanding and getting the information that you need to be able to make an informed decision. And I don't want you to have to go and waste time doing that as well. So that's another reason why I want to teach you and share with you everything that I've already learned. I'm just fiddling with sharing screens. There's a couple of people saying that they've still got problems. Let's see. So I want to save you that time. Another thing I had to learn the hard way was experimenting, putting money at risk by making a few bad choices. As I say, with investments, there's always choices to be made, and sometimes they can be good choices and sometimes they can be bad. So after doing this for 2 years, which is more or less how long I've been learning about crypto now, I have learned how to choose coins that are low risk, because there are some coins that are scams. There are some coins that are dodgy. There are definitely some coins that are people are, in their garage not knowing what they're doing. And those are not ones that I'd recommend to get involved with. But there are very, very serious contenders, very, very serious coins that are worth a lot of money that I want you to be aware of. And those are low risk coins. Why? Because there's not just one cryptocurrency, there's thousands. You've probably heard of Bitcoin. That's the most famous one. In fact, Bitcoin is worth half of the whole cryptocurrency industry, and all the other coins make up the other half in terms of market capitalization. So there are low risk coins and high risk coins, and I want to help you understand and choose which ones are which. I also want to share with you an investment strategy around how to go about choosing coins. In part of my research over the last few years, I wanted to understand how is it that you go about investing. Maybe you don't have a lot of investment experience. My investment experience so far before crypto was property and all of your traditional stuff like retirement funds, but I hadn't been much in the stock market, so I had to educate myself. And I came across an investment strategy taught by Tony Robbins that other multimillionaires used, called asymmetric risk investing, and that's what I want to tell you about now. And it's how you keep your risk low if you are going to experiment with cryptocurrency. Another thing I want to share with you that I learned after doing this for 2 years is that you need to buy your coins and store your coins in a very specific way so that you don't put yourself at risk of being hacked or them being stolen. And the way that you do that is you understand what platforms to use and which ones to avoid, what to listen to and what to ignore when you hear people telling you it's rubbish, it's nonsense, it's gone, all of the stuff that people who don't really know what they're talking about say. So are you ready then to understand how to cash in on the crypto boom? After hearing my story and understanding all the lessons that I've learned. If so, let me explain to you then the 3 secrets that you came here for. The first one is how you can make money even if you've only got $100, because there's no minimum amount. The second secret is how you buy and control your own coins. And so if you ever hear anybody telling you you've got to join this multi-level marketing referral club or anything like that, you understand that you're going to be getting hacked or scammed. So the secret is that you've got to buy and control your own coins. And the third one is when the best time is to start investing in crypto. So let's then jump straight into secret number 1. Before I do that, let's see how the screen technical problems happening. Oh, good. So secret number 1, how to make big money even if you've only got $100. So to understand how people have made profit in cryptocurrency, it helps you to look at different graphs of what cryptocurrency have been doing since they began and how they've been doing now in terms of market value. So I just want to tell you that I understand that you may have a lot of fear of losing your hard-earned money. And that is a legitimate fear, and that fear is present for any kind of investing. I do not recommend you spend all of your savings on crypto, certainly not in the beginning when you're learning. And I do not recommend that you take credit, like I've heard a lot of people do, mortgage their house, use their credit cards to buy crypto. If you're in that situation, this is not for you. I don't recommend that you get into crypto. You're not in a position to be spending on crypto. Crypto is for spending with money that you can afford to spend and experiment with. If you're feeling like you're unfamiliar with investing, I can also relate to that. As I told you, I had a property experience, but not a whole bunch of experience in the stock market. And crypto investing has a similar sensation or a similar emotional experience to investing in stocks, because it operates in a similar kind of way. So I just want to tell you, I understand that if you think you're unfamiliar with investing, that's okay, because I was the same, but it doesn't mean that it's not for you and you shouldn't experiment. As I say, it's a similar experience to stock market investing. One of the ways to make sure that you aren't at incredible risk is to use these tried and tested investment strategies of giants, like I said, Tony Robbins, and invest in cryptocurrencies that have a high return on investment. So not the junk ones, not the scammy ones, but ones that are doing well. And the way to do that is to look at what's been happening in the crypto market. So Tony Robbins, as I said, I came across the strategy that he teaches in his books, which is called asymmetric risk reward strategy. And that is, he says that people who are super successful, multi-millionaires, are successful because of the choices they make in their investments. And the strategy he uses, and Kyle Bass and Paul Tudor use, is that they don't invest in anything that has anything less than a 5-to-1 return. That means if you spend $1, you must have the opportunity to get 5 back. And if you do that 5 times, if you risk $1 here, $1 there, $1 there, $1 there, and there, if you do it in 5 separate investments and you risk $1, you can be wrong 4 out of 5 times. And your one investment that's going to return you $5 makes the risk of all 5 of those investments square, even. And that's why he says people who are super successful are successful, because they use the 5-to-1, because they can be wrong 4 out of 5 times, because you're never going to be right every time. But if at least one of the 5 things you invest in get a 5-to-1 return, then you're back to even Stevens. But if 2 come back, then you've doubled. If 3 come back, and so on and so on and so on. So that's the strategy that he recommends. And there's a little video clip that I'm going to put in the comment section where he talks about it, where I've taken a screenshot from, because it's important to understand that the cryptocurrency is one of these markets where you've got the potential to make a very high return on investment. Very different to markets like property, money market, a kind of savings account, or stocks and shares, where the average return on investment is 12%, 8%, 10%. That's a 1-to-1 return, or a 1 to 1.5 return. And the millionaire strategy, the asymmetric risk strategy that Tony Robbins talks about, isn't talking about your typical kinds of other investments like stocks and shares and money market. They're not big enough potential return on investment. Whereas crypto, every now and again, one of these kinds of investments comes around where there is the potential for huge returns. And that's what I want to show you, just what has been happening in the crypto market since the beginning. And when you look at the broad graph of how values have increased across different cryptos, you'll understand that they're not finished and they're not fly by night, like some people say. You can see that the overarching trend, even though in the months and days it goes up and down, volatile, the overarching trend is increasing. So if I go back to me telling you we made over 2,000% profit in 9 months, that is a 24 times investment. So if we think of the Tony Robbins strategy, that's way more than a 5-to-1 or 6-to-1 that he recommends. You know, right now, there's ways that you combine buying various different types of coins that give you the kind of return on investment we had, which was the 24 times. So very much falls into his millionaire investment strategy. So let's take a quick look at what Bitcoin has been doing. Bitcoin, as I mentioned, is the major and first cryptocurrency. It started in 2008. But I'm showing you what it's been doing from 2013 here. So every 30th of March, on the years represented in the graph, that was what Bitcoin was worth. You could buy one Bitcoin on the 30th of March 2013 for $141. 2014, you could buy one Bitcoin for $600. That was a 223% increase in 1 year. Then 2015 was a down year where you could buy one Bitcoin for $261. So it decreased in that year from the year before by 56%. Then 2016, you could buy one Bitcoin on the 30th of March for $410. So it went up again by 57%. Then in 2017, on the 30th of March, you could buy one Bitcoin for $1,000, so 152%. And then on the 30th of March, 2018, one Bitcoin was worth $8,600. So from 2017 to 2018, it went up 732%. So even if you zoom out and you look what it went up from 2013 to 2018, you can see it has constantly had an upward trajectory. And if you apply the Tony Robbins strategy, don't invest until you're certain that you can make at least 6 times return. Well, just in the last year, Bitcoin went up 8 times. Why does it go up and down, you might be thinking? Because it's a new technology that firstly people are skeptical of, and that policies are still being put in place. So every time something new happens, people get afraid, they start talking around dinner tables, they start withdrawing their money, they start selling their Bitcoin, and the price drops. But the more people who understand how it works, and the more people who get confident, the more chance of it sticking around is, and the less volatile it will become. And it's very important to understand that the only thing stopping any cryptocurrency from sticking around is confidence, consumer confidence. If tomorrow everybody said, no, this is a bad technology, I don't want anything to do with it, sure, the price could drop next to nothing. But that seems so unlikely when we see how useful it is. And that's one of the secrets that I'm going to cover a little bit later on. Let's look at the second biggest cryptocurrency, which is Ethereum. It only started in 2015, and you can see it's had a very similar upward path, even though if we zoomed in on any one day inside of those years, we'd see that it went up and down and up and down and up and down, which is the volatility that makes people uncertain and feel a little bit terrified. But since its inception, it's increased by 258 times if we want to apply the Tony Robbins thinking. So before I move on to secret number 2, it's important to understand that the value is there because we all agree that there's a utility to cryptocurrency. And as I said, I'm going to mention in one of the secrets later, is that there's a lot of problems with our current financial system. And that's the reason why people are using their money to vote for an alternate global currency that is not linked to any specific government. And the more people who vote, and when I say vote, I mean buy, invest, purchase, and use cryptocurrency, the more the value goes up, because in most cases, there's a limited number of coins ever released, and the more people who want them, just by laws of supply and demand, the more the value increases. So before I go on to secret number 2, let me see. I see there's a lot of shy people asking questions, who are not asking questions. But yeah, let me move on. So why is it important to buy and control your own coins? Because cryptocurrency is a bit of the Wild West. This is a quote from one of my favorite shows, Last Week Tonight, by John Oliver, saying that cryptocurrency is basically everything you don't understand about money combined with everything you don't understand about computers. And that leaves people terrified. And because there's this uncertainty and this kind of technical ignorance around cryptocurrency, it creates an environment just like the Wild West where there's a lot of opportunity for being scammed. There was a lot of pyramid scheme, multi-level marketing type things happening last year where a lot of people did get taken for a ride. And for that reason, there was a bit of a bad rap that started doing the rounds in the cryptocurrency world. A famous example of that is one called BitConnect. You can Google it. It was a huge kind of pyramid scheme where a lot of people got involved and a lot of people lost a lot of money. The reason that cryptocurrency is so ripe for being taken advantage of with pyramid schemes and even multi-level marketing is because it's a digital product that if you're not technical, you don't really understand what it is that the product is offering, and you can get taken for a ride. Whereas other multi-level marketing that are selling shampoo or whatever, you've got your bottle of shampoo, you know it's there, no one can take it away from you. But if you don't understand how crypto works, and you just trust somebody who tells you you're going to make a return on investment without holding your own coins yourself, you can be scammed. So that's why it's important that you buy the product directly. In the same way that if you bought a bottle of shampoo, you would hold it and keep it in your cupboard. It's very important if you do decide to get involved in crypto that you buy the crypto yourself. You don't need anybody to buy it on your behalf. You don't need to join any kind of club to do that. Very, very important. And that you hold the keys to your product in the same way that you don't go around giving people your login details for your bank account or your bank cards. You've got to keep the keys to your cryptocurrency. Again, if anybody tells you that they're going to do it for you and that they're going to hold on to the information for you, then run a mile away. Secret number 3, when is the best time to start investing in crypto? Well, like I showed you in the beginning of this short little training, it's today. Yeah, sure. Would have been great if you started in 2008. There was people who, before one Bitcoin was worth $1, nobody thought it was ever going to succeed. Just the idea that you could bootstrap a global currency, meaning a bunch of people around the world could write some software that was going to actually allow you to be sitting listening to me now, broadcasting to you from South Africa about it, is crazy. It's a crazy idea that no one would have ever thought would get anywhere near successful. But then $1, one Bitcoin started to equal $1. It got dollar parity. And that itself was such an unlikely thing to happen. Nobody thought it would get any further than that. And then one Bitcoin equaled $50. And then $100. And all along the way, let me remind you, it had many crashes. There's actually a website called bitcoinobituaries.com where you can read the hundreds and hundreds of times people have predicted that Bitcoin have died. There have been multiple bursts of the Bitcoin bubble. You can see it on Bitcoin Obituaries, where people have said, no, now it's the end. When it was worth $150, people were like, no. Now that it's dropped down from 150, it's never going to increase. And then it went up to $200, and then it burst a little bit and dropped down again. And people said, no, it's finished. And that's happened over and over and over again. So just the fact that it went up to almost $20,000 in December and then popped back down to $6,000, $7,000 in 2017, everyone was like, it's dead, it's finished. But if you just consider for a moment that 10 years ago it was worth $100, and that in the beginning of last year it was only worth $1,000, the fact that it's come down to $6,000 or $7,000 is still incredible. And we mustn't be scared by the volatility. So would I have loved to have got started back in 2010? Yes. Would I have loved to get started when I first heard about it, which was like 2014? I started nagging myself, I wonder if I should check this Bitcoin thing out. And I didn't. Would I have loved to have got started in 2015, 2016, when it was still just a couple $100s? Sure, I would have been able to do more than just move to a seaside village and start renovating my house. Would have been retired for life by now. There are people who've made millions and millions of dollars with cryptocurrency. The truth is, we don't know what's going to happen in the future, which is why my recommendation is to start, but start small. Start with an amount that you can afford to lose. How about this for a challenge? Instead of going out for dinner the very next time you have the urge to go out for dinner, take whatever it is that you would have spent on your sushi or your pasta or whatever it is that you love, and use that to experiment with cryptocurrency, to experiment with Bitcoin. Because one of the things that I'm super, super passionate about is that we are living at in a time now where we have, for the first time in history, the opportunity to co-create a new financial system that is not dependent on any government. The Zimbabwean dollar went to hell because it was dependent on the government. The US dollar goes up and down more than it ever used to every time Trump says something ridiculous. The South African rand, as you know, goes up and down. South African rand is the 16th most traded currency in the world because of how volatile it is. It's because it's backed and linked to a government. We deserve a world where there is a currency that is not linked to government. It's just linked to the people, truly democratized currency. And the only thing stopping it from becoming more and more popular is if you choose not to get involved. The more people who get involved, the more people who use it, the more people who buy it, the more people who spend it, the more people who save it, the more popular it will become. And the real global contender it can be, allowing anybody across the planet to have access to a currency that somebody in the US uses just because they've got a smartphone. That is incredibly a powerful thing. So the best time to start investing in crypto is now. It's not too late. Who knows what's going to happen? There's been all kinds of predictions. There's some really intelligent people in tech who say that the value of one Bitcoin is going to be 1 million by 2022. It could be true. I believe it's going to happen. We just don't know. If tomorrow everyone said, oh, this is crap technology, let's leave it. Sure, the value could go down, but so unlikely. So yes, people have already made millions. And it does really seem like we're just at the beginning of cryptocurrency adoption or boom. If you look at this graph, this Rogers diffusion of innovation, you can apply this to any kind of technological innovation. And if you look at the number of Bitcoin wallets that are held, so the amount of people who have Bitcoin, the prediction or the math says that we are still in the early adopter phase now. And that means that there's still an enormous percentage of early majority people. If you're sitting on this call now, you're very likely on the early majority. And if that's not for your character, you can give yourself a pat on the back. But as the early majority join, and then the late majority, the potential for the value to go up is enormous. And that is how it is that there's the potential for profit. But remember, without enormous risk, you've got to apply the 5-to-1 return on investment, invest on 5 different things that all have a potential to have a 5-to-1, so that if you're wrong 4 out of the 5 times, you at least come out even. That's very, very important. And that's the way that you mitigate your risk. And you're not spending any money that you're not prepared to lose, like what you would have spent on sushi. That's how I recommend that you get started. So why is cryptocurrency needed anyway? I'm going to bring this training to a close by talking a little bit around the need for it. You would have experienced this yourself. If you operate your business globally like I do, bank fees are expensive. They take a long time. Getting Forex, if you're based in South Africa like I am, anytime anybody sends me money from overseas, I have to get a phone call from the bank. I have to tell them how much it is, when it's coming, why it's coming, hundreds of questions. It takes a long time, and they take a big chunk of fee. Even if you use PayPal, PayPal charges up to 20%. That's expensive to do business globally. And in our global village now, it's ridiculous that we don't have an instant, cheap way. Pardon me, we didn't have an instant, cheap way to do business with each other, but we do now, because in cryptocurrency, the transaction fees are minimal and the transfer is instant. So it's needed from that point of view. It's needed because there are over 2 billion people who are unbanked in the world right now who don't have access to financial services. With cryptocurrency, all they need is a smartphone, and they've got the opportunity to have access to the global market. If you've watched The Big Short, that hilarious but scary movie about how the 2008 financial crisis was created, you'll know that it was orchestrated by institutions and government policy. If we have a currency that is not tied to institutions and government policy, we don't need banks who are corrupt or try to make profit out of you in order to broker a transfer of money or exchange between one person and another, then we're going to see a world vastly different than the one now. So if you're feeling skeptical about that, if you're feeling concerned about the current financial system being in crisis, then cryptocurrency is the solution for that. And it's important for you to understand that as a global a global context, because by choosing to get involved in cryptocurrency, you're choosing to co-create the new system. And yes, the side effect is that there is the potential for a lot of profit along the way. So before I move on, I'm just wondering if there's anything specific on your mind, because in the past hour or almost hour, I've basically given you a fire hose of serious information, and I haven't been able to tell you everything that you need to know. There's plenty of stuff that's worthwhile knowing that I haven't been able to cover. So is there anything, I'll just give you a moment or two to add any specific question there before I move on. I see Janet's trying to catch up. Anything else before I move on? Yeah, so I know it's been a lot of information, but I hope what I've managed to get clear to you is that it's very unlikely crypto is going to fall away. Yes, there are some bad cryptos that are actually scams, and you need probably somebody, at least in the beginning, to help you see what's a scam and what's not a scam. Yes, cryptocurrency is super, super important in the global context, offering us an alternative solution. And I really hope that I can encourage you that if you leave here, you'll agree that it's been time spent really, really well so far. You have got your free PDF that is going to get emailed to you with links to how to get started in the websites I use. But if you're feeling like you'd still like a little bit of support, then I would like to offer you my mentorship and my assistance. So if you would like me to work with you, then this is a package that I put together specifically for the people who've got the South African webinar link now. I've been doing a lot of global consulting. I've been working with a lot of people in the US and in Europe, getting them started on their cryptocurrency portfolio. And I recognize that if you're based in South Africa and you don't have access to dollars and euros, that's quite difficult. So for that reason, I want to offer you the opportunity to work with me and under my mentorship. So I've put together a fast track VIP crypto consultation, which is normally $797 for my US clients, but I've made a discount coupon of 75% just for people who are watching this webinar. And if you're not South African, or you're not in South Africa, but you've got yourself onto this South African webinar, then you can consider yourself lucky, because if you put the webinar coupon code webinar-VIP into my booking calendar, you're going to get 75% off of that VIP fast track crypto consult. So here's what we'll do in the consult. I'll make sure that you buy your first coin, that you choose coins to go in your portfolio that's aligned with your values. And what do I mean by that? There's coins doing all kinds of things. Bitcoin acts as a currency, but Ethereum is a coin that allows people to make contracts without lawyers. So there are thousands of coins that do thousands of different things, and we'll look at all the coins that are low risk, that are well established, that aren't scams, that are also aligned with what it is that you want to achieve in the world. For example, there's a coin that helps people get access to grant funding in Africa. And we'll build your portfolio for you. We'll make sure that your coins are safely stored. And I'll also teach you any other background and basics that it is that you want to know. So even if you're a complete beginner with no tech experience, you've got no investment experience, you are perhaps already traditionally investing, but you've never done cryptocurrency, but you're feeling a little bit nervous about making mistakes in crypto, then this is a consult that is for you. Some work that I've done with Brian recently talked about how wonderful it was when he got my mentorship and my training and helped him into his cryptocurrency space because it was a new phenomenon and he needed all his questions and his answers confirmed. When I was putting this offer together for you, I could have decided, okay, I can go really, really cheap and just try and get lots of people to do this consult, but it wouldn't have really incentivized me like it has now. So I decided rather I'll make it require still an investment, even though you got 75% off, but then I can limit it to just a couple of people. So there are limited spaces. But because I really want to encourage you to get started, I'm also, if you sign up for a VIP consult, the very next video training course that I do, which is going on sale for $197 next week, you'll get free access to that if you're within the first 5 people. So you'll get the bonus consult and you'll get video training. And if you add up the two values together, that's $994 worth of value. So even if all this training did was give you the kick in the butt you needed to get started, allow you to take one kick-ass summer holiday like Heather did. I got an email from Heather the other day saying, I attended your last webinar and I got started after our training consult, and my crypto portfolio allowed me to pay for my whole summer holiday with my family. I'm really grateful that I got started. Thank you. Even if your training only allowed you one kick-ass summer holiday, or gave you on-demand access to someone like me who's been there and done that, would it be worth it? And that's what I want you to ask yourself. Would it be worth it if you were able to make the investments that you needed to think back to what I asked you to dream about in the beginning of what you would do if your crypto portfolio did well? Would that investment of $900 something be worth it for you? I'm sure your answer is clear. So you can see why $994 is a good investment. But as I said, because you are my South African webinar, I'm giving you that 75% coupon code, VIP, webinar-VIP, and that actually reduces the amount to $199.25. It's a weird amount because it's 25% off, and you can get that on this link, which I'm going to put into the comment section now. If you want to start a VIP consult with me, if you click in there, I'll put it in the comment section, you'll see you can book yourself straight into my calendar. And I think the next availability is as soon as next week. And then the one after that is the week after. I do one a week, basically. So if you want to get started, I'm also adding another bonus, which is you can WhatsApp me for the next 6 weeks with any of your crypto questions after we've had our portfolio consult. That's only for the first 2 people who sign up. And I've included this as a serious, like, sweetener cherry on top, because with the clients that I have worked with, I've found that questions come up after the fact, or somebody comes across a coin, or somebody's had a dinner party conversation and they want to know an answer. You'll have WhatsApp access to me. You can pop me a message on WhatsApp and I'll give you the answer that you need or the guidance that you need, only for the first 2 people who sign up through this webinar. And as you can see, that's actually priceless, but I have actually charged $497 to my US clients to have unlimited WhatsApp access to me. So that's a surprise bonus number 2 that I'm adding if you sign up through this webinar. So for $199, you can get access to me. You can have my free access to my video training that I'm releasing next week, and you get your bonus one-on-one consult with me. So if you click on that link and you book yourself into my calendar now, I can give you that time that you deserve to be able to get involved now in co-creating this new financial system, but also the potential for profit the next time the crypto market goes up, because all signs indicate that it's very likely to go to the moon. That's a crypto term for the next time a cryptocurrency booms. So I'm going to leave you with that. I really want to encourage you to book yourself into my calendar now so we can have your one-on-one consult. We can hear out any of your concerns. We can hear what your values are, and we can help you build that portfolio that's going to be super, super successful. Looking forward to seeing you there. Bye, guys.